Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has attributed the proliferation of universities to mounting pressures from lawmakers. Alausa spoke at the third edition of the 2025 Ministerial Press Briefing in Abuja on Thursday, at a time the federal government has come under increasing pressure to reform the country's education sector. With nearly 200 bills pending in the National Assembly for the creation of new universities, the minister emphasized that strengthening the capacity of existing institutions is more important than establishing new ones. He also noted that there was no need to pressure the president into approving more universities.
We're working with the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry on how we're going to do this. We're trying to plan the process on how this will be done. We've gotten the NIPSI to join us as well, so that we can now have a register that is clean, and as these funds go to these parents, we know exactly we're paying the right people. So we have a clear plan to address out-of-school children. We also have launched a Lumina program for a girl child education. That was launched just last week.
Joining me now to discuss this is Professor Anthony Kila, Director and Professor of Strategy and Development at the Commonwealth Institute of Advanced and Professional Studies. Thank you for giving us your time tonight. 200 bills pending before the Assembly. The advice is clear: stop proliferation and improve quality. Do you agree with the ministers? And can the Assembly stop action on those bills?
Well, I think it must be said that I understand the minister's view, but there is a bit of oversimplification going on in this matter, and it is important that we have a rather more complete and holistic view of the situation in education. So there are two things. We have a qualitative deficiency and a quantitative deficiency. The quantitative deficiency is due to the fact that there are lots of Nigerian students who would like to go to university, and there are not enough universities for them. This lack of enough spaces leads to certain arbitrary practices and indeed substandard in a way. But there's also a qualitative problem in the sense that the existing universities are not up to par. They're not up to par in terms of infrastructures, in terms of what they deliver to the student, and really, and we must talk about it, in terms of what they deliver to the society. I think if we want to look at the tertiary education sector, perhaps the whole education sector, we need to think of a reset. We need to, for example, think of better living standard for students and better wages and recognition for faculty. But by the same token, we need to expect the faculty to solve Nigerian problems. We need to expect engineers and mathematicians and our faculty of agriculture to solve the problem of our daily life. There's no reason why we should not be known as a country that is dealing with malaria by providing vaccines, not dosage of medicine. So that's the problem on the other side. In terms of dealing with it, I think the minister errs when he thinks that the government is the center of everything. No, the government can focus on making sure that government universities are improved and up to par, but then set up standards for private universities who want to come into the system. It is important to set them good framework within which they have to operate. So that way the private sector can complement the public sector.
But Kila, he is not saying, I don't believe that institutions are bad, creating new ones are bad. He's just saying that we have institutions already, and some of them are performing way below standards. Instead of creating more universities, the ones that we have should be strengthened. And that argument, I would expect one in the academia to see some, quality in it.
Well, there is quality in it. What I do not agree to the simplification. Someone in academia will not oversimplify. The situation is more complex than Dr. Alausa is making it. Look, Dr. Alausa needs to focus on the public sector. And by the way, he doesn't need to say it. He needs to go to the universities, call the vice chancellor and say, this is what we're doing to improve the universities. I can say it is bad. He should be improving it, not talking about it. That's on one side, because he's the minister. He's charged and paid to do that. On the other side, what I'm saying is that we need to find a way to use the private sector to complement the public sector. And the way to do it is to give them a good framework within which they work. I talk generally because there is known as a general notion in the country of people saying that they should stop new universities and improve the existing one. I think that is the wrong view. One does not stop the other. It is important to improve the existing one and tell the new ones coming that they must come at a high standard. Also because people have the right to aspire to own universities.
Yeah, but there's right something else he said I'd like your thoughts on, Prof. He said on special universities, he urged institutions to stick to their core mandate. He believes there is a need to reduce the number of non-technical courses in specialized universities and instead offer them in conventional institutions. I really cannot perceive where you would be on this argument.
No, my point is very clear. I think it's oversimplified. The reason why specialized universities go general is mainly because they're more generous students than specialized students. If we want specialized studies, if we want to improve science and technology, my thinking is that we need to start from secondary school to make science sexier, to make technology more attractive, and to show that that is the future. But that is difficult because at the moment, starting from secondary school, and indeed some universities, especially in the rural part of Nigeria, and I think most of northern Nigeria, most of the universities are ill-equipped. So they really cannot attract high achievers in science and technology. I think it's an infrastructural problem. So if you set up a university of agriculture, for example, or technology, and they do not have the equipment of doing technology or agriculture, they end up trying to attract students for general studies. That is the problem we have. So okay. I get the dilemma the minister in, but I challenge his approach. I think he's oversimplifying the issues.
All right, let's just go away a bit from the creation of universities and all of that and talk about his reaffirmation that the federal government is committed to reducing the number of out-of-school children and perhaps create better pathways to access tertiary institutions. What is the current stats on this, out-of-school children, if you have it, and are they doing enough in your view?
Well, I think, no, the exact number, because it keeps changing. I don't have the number of the one, but I know it's a terrible number. And I think it is something staring us in the eyes, generally, the number of out-of-school students. And it's a big shame because, this is 2025. We should be reducing it exponentially. We don't seem to be doing that. The number, we cannot put a hand on it tonight, but I know it's a high number. I believe that if we want to reduce the out-of-school children, we need to look at some non-educational issues like security for starters. Because part of the reason why a lot of people are not going to school is because the school zones are not secure. We need to start with that. The other thing we need to start with is to actually show the benefit of having children in school, not outside of school. I think there is a cultural component that allows that.
Right.
If I had my way, for example, I would make it a criminal offense not to have children in school for a certain age, say children of 5 to a certain age, maybe 12 or 14, must be in school. And any parent whose children are not in school should be liable to some kind of offense. But to do that, you have to have enough schools, You have to have enough attraction for
well,
parents to send their
that
children
can
to
really
school. You have
happen.
to know where these parents
I
are.
mean, you are inferring already that there are conditions. That can only happen when all the basic, or at most, a good percentage of the basics have been put in place in terms of infrastructure and other logistics.
You're very right.
Thank you for speaking with us, Prof.
Absolutely. Thank you.